So around 2 weeks ago, Alex Almonte just released $100 million leads. And the same way the value equation was like the core main part of $100 million offers, the call for and the advertising cycle is basically the main part of $100 million leads. Okay, so what I want to do in this video is break that down for you guys and how it works for beginner agency owners. And so there's a link in the description where you can find the audiobook and the $100 million leads training by Alex Almonte. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, so before we hop into the advertising cycle, we need to go over the core four. And before we go over the core four, we need to go over the types of audiences and types of communication. Okay, so first thing is types of audiences. We have warm and we have cold. Warm is people who you know or people who know you. This is basically your audience, or your friends, family, stuff like that. As you can see here, friends, family, followers, current/past customers, contacts. And cold is people who don't know you, so other people's audiences. So, and these people did not give you information, so they're strangers. So lists, if it's D7 or like Phantom Buster from Google Maps. So, if you're using Phantom Buster to scrape leads, that's Google's customers, and like that's their list, and so they're warm to Google but cold to you, right? So that is the type of audiences, warm and cold. And a really important thing to know when it comes to warm is that the only condition that has to be met for someone to be warm is that they know you. Okay, you don't have to know them. And eventually that's what's going to be happening, because you're going to be posting and building a brand. So your warm audience is going to know you, but you're not going to know them. Okay, but that's fine. They're still warm. So that is audiences. And so the next thing is the two types of communication. Okay. So we have one-to-one, which is private, and one-to-many, which is public. And so this is like a really simple question that I get asked a lot, and a lot of people don't understand the difference between outbound and inbound. Outbound is client acquisition where the first communication between you and the prospect is in a private manner. Inbound is when the first communication between you and a prospect is in a public manner. Okay? So obviously outbound is one-to-one and it's private. Inbound is one-to-many and it's in public. So one-to-one could be a phone call, email, text, voicemail, direct mail, message, whatever happens to be. One-to-many, billboards, podcasts, posts, ads, stuff like that, right? And a thing to note, an email blast is one-to-one, many times fast with automation. So this kind of concept of outbound and inbound gets very confusing when you're doing outbound at a high level, like with email blasts. If you send an email blast or SMS blast to 10,000 people, it would feel like inbound, but it really is still outbound, because we have to look at what the definition of outbound is. It's client acquisition where the first touch point is private. And even though you send that to 10,000 people, what it really is just outbound, but just at a really fast pace leveraging automation. Okay? So we have the two types of audiences and the two types of communication. And that is what makes up the core four, right? We have the warm and cold audiences, and we have the one-to-one and one-to-many communication platforms, okay? And so this is kind of what it looks like. This is straight out of, all of this, by the way, everything we're going to get into is from Alex Almonte's book, $100 Million Leads. His Spotify podcast shows the audiobook. So what I'll do is I'll create a playlist of the whole audiobook, and it'll be in the description of this video. Yeah? So, core four, warm, cold, one-to-one, one-to-many. The first thing you have to go over is warm, one-to-one. And so this is just warm outreach. Outreach. There we go, right? Very, very simple concept to understand. You're doing one-to-one. So you're doing a phone call, an email, a text, a voicemail, a direct mail message. You're reaching out to someone privately one-to-one, and you're doing it to someone who knows you. So this could be friends, family, followers, current past customers, contacts, people who know you, right? And so when it comes to your agency, if you are in, a niche, a regular type of niche, like maybe you're in chiropractors, or you're in gyms, or you're in real estate, you're in e-com, it's unlikely that you're going to know thousands of people or even hundreds of people personally, and they're going to know you and you're going to know them in order to do warm outreach. Sorry. just cut this out. It's highly unlikely you're going to know that many people in your niche, okay? Because we're targeting specific niches here. So warm outreach is already kind of a no-go, because the reason Hormozy loves it is because when he started, he was selling fitness and he was selling weight loss, and everybody has a body, right? So everybody is in his niche, right? Because his niche is such a broad niche. But when we're honed in on one specific business type, we're not going to have hundreds of people that we already know to contact when it comes to outreach, okay? So this is really a no-go for agencies, unless you're in a really weird situation where you've already spoken to 1,000 realtors before, then do warm outreach, 100%. But if you're not deeply ingrained in your niche, which you're not really going to be, then you don't need to bother with warm outreach, okay? Next one is cold one-to-one. So this is just simple, just cold outreach, right? So we are doing cold. So it is people who did not give you permission, they don't know you. Like, for example, Google Maps lists, D7 list, Lead Rocks, Apollo, whatever you happen to use as your lead scraper. Maybe it's just some guy on Fiverr. Finding a list and doing outbound one-to-one private on any of these platforms, right? This is the most popular thing to do for SMMA, and it's also really, really effective. Okay, cold outreach is very great for SMMA. I don't need to explain to you why it's amazing. Yeah, this is definitely top 2 things that you can be doing for your agency as a beginner. Okay, and then when it comes to cold outreach, you want to be doing, as a beginner, you're going to be doing cold calling. This is the best thing for you to be doing as a beginner, because you're going to get sales experience, right? You're going to get dexterity when it comes to speaking. You're going to stutter way less. You're going to be more comfortable talking. And also, you're going to get experience. This is very dodgy handwriting. You're going to get experience talking to people in your niche, right? So cold outreach is a big tick. Very good for beginner SMMAers. And cold calling is probably your best bet. Okay? There's other stuff like cold DM, cold email, but realistically, for these 3 reasons, cold calling is going to be your best bet. So the next one is warm and one-to-many. And so warm, one-to-many. This is going to be posting content, right? So posting content, this means on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Discord, anywhere, posting content. This is another one that is a big tick, but also is very interesting because it seems like the majority of people only focus on cold outreach, but posting content in the future, in the long run, if you're playing if you're playing the long game, which you should be, posting content might even be better, might even have more ticks, right? Because this scales. The leverage that this has is bigger than the leverage that this has. But this works better short term, and in my opinion, this is going to work out better long term. Okay? So when it comes to posting content, you're going to be posting short form content and mid form content. That should be mid. There we go. So short form content on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, really just on the main social medias. And then mid-form content, so this is stuff that's between like around 8 to 24 minutes on YouTube. Okay, and a big thing to do with all of this, it's pretty simple, and I'm sure most of you guys are already doing this, but I just want to make sure, is redistribute. Okay, so don't make a short form for IG and then a short form for Facebook and a short form for TikTok. Make one and redistribute it everywhere. And when you make a mid-form video between 8 and 24 minutes on YouTube, like, shout it out on all your socials, right? It's very simple. I'm sure you guys are already doing this, but yeah, this is a big thing that not a lot of people are doing. A lot of people, they're doing the 150 cold calls a day, they're 500 emails a day, but they haven't posted any content, or if they have, it's been a month, right? Consistently posting content and building a warm audience is going to be so valuable long term with your agency, right? So we have warm one-to-one, cold one-to-one, warm one-to-many, and the last one is cold one-to-many. And with this one is paid ads, right? So we're reaching out to a cold audience because, for example, if we're doing ads on Facebook, it's Facebook's list, it's not us. So it's a cold audience, and it's one-to-many because people are seeing it like this, it's in a public setting. So it's inbound, it's one to many. And paid ads are also a major, like an amazing high leverage thing to do. But the only issue is that it's pricey, okay? And so as a beginner agency owner, I'm sure, you know, if you have the $30 a day that you're happy to spend and like not mind if you lose it, go straight to paid ads 1,000%. But if you don't, which a lot of you guys don't, you know, have $900 a month to spend on ads monthly, it's something that you're going to use later down the line. That is really going to be, it's going to be amazing for you later down the line. But right now, your cold outreach and your posting content is going to be your two go-tos. But paid ads is definitely a big check mark. And realistically, if once you're at a point where you're making 6 to 10K per month, if you start going hard on your paid ads and you have a good system for them, they can have even more ticks than cold and warm, like cold outreach and warm content combined. They can have the most ticks, right? So as a beginner, cold outreach, posting content. When you have money to invest, paid ads. And warm outreach, if you're in a really weird position where you have a fuck ton of friends in your niche, then go for it. But if not, which you're probably not going to be, then don't. Okay? So that's kind of a look at what the core 4 is. You know, it's like just a quick rundown of it. And so I'll just kind of just copy and paste this over to this advertising cycle. There we are. And so what I want to do is kind of rate these 1 to 4 for agencies. Okay, so we have warm outreach, posting content, cold outreach, paid ads. I think number 1 is going to be cold outreach. It's basically the staple of an agency. Is, you know, how many cold calls you're doing per day. Obviously, if you're making 100K per month, you're going to be booking more meetings through paid ads and, you know, maybe content. But right now we're focusing on beginner agency owners, right? So number 1 is cold outreach. And by the way, I just want to give a very quick apology throughout this video. My handwriting's been terrible, but you know, I'm on a mouse, so it can only be so good, right? So number 1, cold outreach. It's amazing. You should be doing it. This should be your primary source of meetings as a beginner. Number 2 is posting content. This is really going to build like a big warm audience content, and it's going to build a lot of trust in your niche. Because if 1 year down the line you have 600 posts on Instagram and someone looks you up on Instagram, they're gonna have so much confidence in you because they're gonna see all your results on Instagram, all the value you've given away, and then you're gonna look like the marketing guy in your niche, which is what you want to look like. Okay, so posting content, and keep in mind this is for, I should say it right here, this is for beginner agency owners. If you're at 50K, it's a completely different story. This is for beginner agency owners. Number 1, cold outreach. Number 2, posting content. Number 3, paid ads. If you have the money for it, it goes straight up to number 1. But a lot of the time, you're not going to have the money for it. So paid ads is something to keep in your back pocket. And when you have the money to invest in it heavily. And it's going to turn into most likely your main source of appointments booked. But as a beginner, it's something that to wait on until you have the money to invest on. And then last one is warm outreach. Warm outreach is probably not going to be something that you're going to use as an agency owner. Hormonesy loves it, and that's because Hormonesy was in the fitness niche, so it makes sense that he would absolutely love it. As an agency owner, unless you're in a weird situation, as I said, where you have a fuck ton of, you know, like you have a bunch of realtor friends or something like that, it's probably not going to suit you well. Okay? So that's kind of what the core 4 looks like, right? So these are the 4 ways that you can get leads and get engaged leads on your own. And so we use this on our own. And then there's something called lead getters, right? So we have the core 4 and we have lead getters. Lead getters are people who you can use to help you do the core 4. Because the core 4 fundamentally are the only ways that you can get leads. Well, you can use the lead getters to help you do the core 4, okay? So let's break it down. The first one is customers. Really, Hormonesy says customers, but it's really customer referrals. And this is something that I've used a lot. So the way I would structure customer referrals is I would make it something that you go over in your onboarding call, right? So you sign a client, you have an onboarding call, And what I would do is on the onboarding call, mention the customer referral program. You can even mention it in the sales call to help close the deal. I know Joel Kaplan does that, but I personally do it in onboarding calls. Go over customer referrals. And this is really nice because someone can pay the entire agency fee, like whatever you're asking. They can pay all of that off just through getting referrals. So they can help their friends get the value that you're giving them, make their friends money, and make some extra money themselves. So it's really just a win-win, and I love this. I've used this a lot. It's just a win-win for everybody involved if you actually have a good product. Okay, and so as I said, go over it in the onboarding call. Most of the time, people won't do it straight away because if you're just at the onboarding call, you haven't shown that you know that you can get good results yet. So mention it in the onboarding call. But when you're 30, 60, 90 days in, and you start getting this fucking incredible results for your client, you can start going over referrals again, so that once they're convinced and they know that it works, they'll be happy to share it with their friends, and so their friends can make some more money, and they can also make some more money from the referrals. It's a win-win-win. Everywhere is a big win. So a lot of ticks for customer referrals. It's a great thing, right? The next one is affiliates. Affiliates get a bit more tricky because not many people are in a situation where they can become an affiliate with you, and they just have gyms, have a big audience of gyms, chiropractors, real estate agents, anything like that, to just lay off to you, right? So affiliates, if you are in, it's the same with warm outreach. If you are in a weird situation where you can leverage affiliates, do it. But for the majority of agencies, this isn't going to happen. Okay. And I want to reiterate one more time. All of this is for beginner agency owners. So I just put a question mark here because 999 out of 1,000 times, you're not going to be in a place where you know how to get affiliates. But if you can conjure up some affiliates, that's amazing. It's so perfect. But for the majority of the agencies, it's not going to happen. Next one is employees. Very quick one. When you're at 0 to 10K per month, all you really need is maybe a VA, right? Like a VA to do simple tasks, to scrape leads to you, to call up the leads that you got your clients, right? Do the appointment setting, to do the lead nurturing work. Maybe you have your VA running your Facebook ads, and that's a stretch as well. 0 to 10K per month you can do on your own. So we want to go over employees because 0 to 10K per month, you don't have any real employees, right? So we can't use employees as lead getters. That doesn't work if we don't have any employees, obviously. Number 4 is agencies. So agencies can get you fucking incredible results. Like, you're an agency owner, you know that an agency works. So you could hire a done for you appointment setting agency that books you meetings every month, right? But the issue with that, and I know Alex Holman talks about this, is that if you start with a done for you agency for your agency that's booking meetings for you, they are going to, like, metaphorically hold your whole agency by the balls, right? Because the entire lifeline of your agency is based on their work. So if they double their prices, you just have to comply, and you have to let them do anything that they want because they're in control. Without them, your agency dies. So it's really it's not a good idea to just leverage an agency for everything because they can double their prices, they can triple their prices, and you just have to comply. It's not a good situation to be in. So the way that you can leverage agencies, and I know Hormones talks about this, is pay the agency, see if they get the good results that you're after, and if they do, instead of using that agency and just taking the done for you service and taking the meetings, learn it from them, pay them more, get one-to-one coaching, get consulting from them, and they'll show you actually how to do it. So after a few months, you can start to do what they're doing yourself, and maybe you can take them on board, or maybe if you're at a point where this agency is doing great work for you and you've scaled up to 10, 20K per month, you can start employing people to do the agency's work for you and take it in-house. Because you don't want an agency to be the people who are making or breaking what you're doing. Okay? So that's how you can use the lead getters to get more clients. But what we can also do is we can use the core 4 to get more lead getters. They use the core 4 to get more lead getters, and that's in essence what the advertising cycle is, right? Using the core 4 and you're using lead getters to get more lead getters who get you more leads using the core 4, who you make more sales from, right? And so one more thing, going over the top 4. Number 1 is going to be referrals. Absolutely, customer referrals. These are amazing. If you actually provide a good service, then they're amazing, which I'm sure you will. So customer referrals. If you can build a good connection with your clients, absolutely always use customer referrals. They're amazing. Number 2 is going to be, it's between agencies and affiliates. Employees are 4th because 0 to 10K per month, you don't need to worry about any employees. I'll say affiliates. Affiliates are a weird one. They're like, it's similar to cold outreach. I mean warm outreach. So like 999 times out of 1,000, you're not going to be in a situation to use affiliates or warm outreach. But if you're in a weird situation where you can, absolutely use them, right? 3 is agencies. Use the agencies if you really want to. Your best bet is getting a coach, like getting some sort of mentorship. That's your best bet. But if you want, you can use the agencies, but don't use them the way they're intended. You want to, Alex Holman talks about this. You want to take their knowledge. You don't want them to be the ones that control, what you do. And if they double their prices, you just have to comply. You never want that. You don't want to be in that position. So if you're gonna work with the agency, which as I said, best bet, get a mentorship. But if you're gonna work with the agency, you only want to be with them for a few months. You want to learn what they're doing, and then do it yourself. Okay. And number 4 is, as I said before, employees. There's not much to go over with employees. Don't worry about them. 0 to 10K per month. The most you're going to need is a VA, realistically. Okay. So we covered a lot in this video, but yeah, going over it again. Advertising cycle, using the core 4, using lead getters. So if I was in your position, if I was a beginner agency owner who you wanted a plan of what to do cold outreach and post content, right? Cold outreach, do your cold calls. You're going to build your sales experience, build your verbal dexterity, and you're going to get experience talking to people in your niche. In terms of posting content, do short form content on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, everywhere, and LinkedIn. And mid form 18 to 24 minute videos on YouTube that you can redistribute on all the platforms, right? So cold outreach, posting content. And then in terms of lead getters, all of these things, they're gonna help you scale, and they are so powerful. Each of these 4 lead getters, incredible, right? They're fucking amazing. 0 to 10K per month, just use customer referrals. You don't need an agency. Your best bet is going with a mentorship. Affiliates, if you're in a position where you can use them, use them. Employees, you're not gonna have employees at 0 to 10K per month. Customer referrals, absolutely. If you can create a positive feedback loop with referrals, you're going to make a lot of money, and you're going to make your clients a lot of money, right? So the customer referrals, definitely use them. Mention it in the onboarding call, 30, 60, 90 days after, when you've gotten them amazing results, mention it again. They'll bring some people on board, you'll get paid, they'll get paid, win-win for everybody, okay? So I'm going to leave the $100 Million Leads audiobook on Spotify. I'm going to leave my playlist of it in the description. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to leave a link to Alex Holman's course. So he has the audiobook, and then he also has a course where he basically explains the principles from the audiobook in more detail. Okay? So I'll link those in the description. Leave a like if you enjoyed this and you want to see more content like it. Make sure you comment any questions you have, any video ideas, anything like that. And subscribe if you want to see more content. Okay? I'll see you then. Talk to you soon.